this is Dr. Essler. Hey, I want to go over today with you again. What makes TMJ so different? Why isn't, you know, sometimes we play tennis too much and we get tennis elbow. We quit playing tennis, we do a little, physical therapy, it gets better, it's fine. Same with running, we've all had friends that were into running. They get a real runner's knee, they quit running, they do some physical therapy, it gets better. But the jaw joint, what's the deal? Why is it so difficult? And the reason is the TMJ joint is supposed to, the ball, which is a small ball, and the socket, which is a very large socket, which allows you to kind of come out of socket on one side so you can chew on the other. Well, it turns out that if the upper and lower teeth, if the upper teeth arch is too small, I always call that, it's like the shoe, and the lower arch, which is like the foot in a shoe, is too big, then just like if you wore shoes that are too small, you curl up your toes, you go on a long walk, your feet hurt, you think, oh, I'm never wearing those shoes again. Well, the same thing on the teeth. The upper teeth arch should be a little bit bigger than the lower arch teeth. And that's because the front four teeth are considerably bigger than the lower front four teeth. But sometimes that doesn't work out. And so instead of curling up your toes, you scoot your jaw back. You go from here, where that black dot is, see that black dot? That's where you're supposed to hinge, but when it scoots back, like curling your toes to fit your foot into a too small a shoe, then that ball pushes up against that little orange dot that I drew on there, which is where the ear canal is. Now, that's okay. If you don't clench your teeth when you're stressed out, you can have that arrangement, and maybe, unless you chew a lot of gum, you won't have any problem at all. But if you're like most people, and when you get stressed, you grit your teeth. And if you do that, particularly if you do it at night when you can't stop yourself, then you'll bruise this area back here where I did the orange dot. And it's as simple as that. It's no more complicated than that. Now, you can do things, as I mentioned in other tapes, how you could try to relax these muscles that, are represented by these rubber bands here. And so that maybe in your sleep you won't grit your teeth, but that's the challenge. You're asleep around a third of your life. You can't, oversee that. And if you do that most of the time when you're asleep, then you're going to have a sore jaw. So, I always tell patients, first thing, get in there,